Welcome to MMA Fancast. My name's Luke Payson, and I am honored to have undefeated pro middleweight Jay Manning back on the show. Jay, welcome back.
Appreciate you, man. Good to be back. Always good to be here, man.
So exciting. You went up to Niagara Falls, New York over the weekend, got a really big TKO win, and you're now 2-0 as a pro, which is just incredible. You also came back off a layoff. And the commentator said that it was due to your knee. So let's jump into that. Walk us through the fight. You finished it in round 2. Talk about round 1. Talk about how you came back from your injury and just walk us through the fight.
Yeah, man. So, I guess I'll start with the injury. Got off of my last fight. Took a little break to be with my daughter. As you guys know, she was born like right before the fight. Started coming back and unfortunately had a pretty severe knee injury. That needed surgery. When they got in there, it wasn't as bad as they said it was. So the recovery time was a lot shorter than anticipated, thank God, went through a long process of rehab on that and kind of getting back moving and getting back right on it. And I took that time to really work on basics, work on distance control, work on spacing. And then when I finally got back to jiu-jitsu, working on basics with that, defenses, just kind of staying strong and staying heavy where I can. And getting into the fight, man, it was an amazing fight. You guys didn't get a chance to watch it. It should be on LFA's YouTube. But yeah, first round came out. I was filling him out pretty well. Prodding with the jab, some kicks, keeping my distance and everything. He had a pretty solid high kick, his takedown game was all right. He got me with a solid inside leg trip takedown. Little after halfway through the first round, managed to get back up off of that. Finished the first round pretty strong. I think I rocked him one time on the feet, but not enough to really do anything significant. He kind of clamped up after that, got in the clinch and everything. That's when he got the takedown. But going into the second round, man, I knew I had to come out strong. Came out a little bit more aggressive. He tried to go for another takedown, stopped that. He tried to do a different takedown after that, and I stopped, and he went straight for the legs. I guess he either heard about my knee or he was just, got lucky and went for the legs. But we've been working a lot of stuff right before the fight. Actually, we were working defenses for leg locks and defenses and how to get out of them and stay strong in them. And Danilo kind of had a lot of foresight with that. So managed to stay in a strong position. He cycled through probably about 4 different positions trying to get a different lock each time. And I managed to just stay patient, make sure he didn't lock anything up and get him into a position where I could just start landing some solid, accurate ground and pound on him, put some power on his ass. And there was history. There was history.
Well, congratulations not only to you on the incredible win, but Danilo Indio Dojo. He's about your size, so I think as a training partner, that's kind of perfect. And of course, he's a very, very high level black belt. What I really liked, and the commentators were saying, "Oh, you could defend with punches," and of course, you finished the fight from that position. But what I really liked, clearly, you were trained very well. Is sometimes when people are in leg lock situations, they punch too fast. And then, oh crap, I went from punching to tapping because my leg, my knee's breaking. What I really liked, and obviously you said, is you focused on the priorities. You kept your leg out of danger. You kept him in a worse position. So you kind of like stacked him over and over again. So he had to keep changing. I got nervous when he went for the heel hook because that is a devastating for the knee. But you stayed, everything you just stayed right in there. And then once your leg was out of danger, then you unloaded the fight stopping ground and pound. It's not bad to use ground and pound to handle leg attacks. Obviously you did successfully, but if somebody's in a leg attack and they just pound, but don't figure out the defense, it's kind of that position over submission, but it's kind of opposite. When you're in a leg lock, you need to get out of the submission before you worry about punching. So I think you did an incredible job. You really looked like a seasoned veteran in that position because we've seen leg lock specialists in the UFC, Ryan Hall, Pajares, who got kicked out from holding them too long. They do really well because a lot of pros really aren't experienced in defending them. So talk a little bit more about Danilo Villafort. He's obviously a Bellator vet, super high level BJJ guy, runs your gym. What's it like training with him? I just assumed you guys train a lot together because I think he fought at 85 or 70. He's a good frame for you. So kind of talk about that with the confidence that you have now. Your kickboxing, I would say, is your best part, but obviously you're no slouch on the ground. And a black belt, your opponent was a black belt. I think black belts are going to see that and not just assume they could take you down and win on the ground, which is a huge feather in your cap, so that people just don't constantly try the ground game against you, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. Training with Danilo has been amazing, man. I'll say confidently that most of the white belts that come through our gym can take on a lot of higher belts with not too much difficulty, man. And that's a testament to the type of training we do with Danilo. He's very high level. He knows what to teach. He knows how to teach it. And he kind of knows how to go through different progressions that most people, most gyms aren't going to think of. And it's a lot of great training partners in that gym, not just Danilo. That's not to take anything away from him. He's amazing to train with, to roll with, and everything. He's super suffocating as a super high level black belt rolling with Danilo. But being in a gym like that, as somebody who hasn't had necessarily as extensive a history in grappling as a lot of other folks in PA, it really teaches me how to stay on my P's and Q's and stay on my toes when it comes to defense, when it comes to grappling. And it's really helped me to build both a solid offense and a solid defense and a pretty decent offense that I haven't been able to display in that actual cage yet. So ideally, I don't have to get to that point. I can keep it simple and do what I got to do. But if it ever has to go to the ground and go to grappling, I'm not too scared of anybody, man. We work hard over there. A lot of great training partners. Ken Burrs, you probably get an interview with him, and sometime he has a fight upcoming. Evan, both of those guys give me a lot of great work as well. And yeah, man, we all love to push each other, especially when it comes to groundwork and grappling.
Yeah, I already interviewed Ken Burrs for the upcoming fight for Brandenburg 16. So thanks for plugging that. So it did pretty well. A lot of people checked it out, but it's a good reminder as the fight gets closer for 247 Brandenburg 16, April 15th. I've done a ton. I think I'm up to 12 or 13 interviews for that card. So if anybody's watching this and is going to be coming, which you should be coming to the Brandenburg card because it's just going to be incredible. You've got some teammates on there. And talk a little bit more about Ken Burrs. You guys are in many ways both prototypical 185ers. You're kind of the Anderson Silva 185er, the long, lean 185er, and he's kind of more of the power 185er who's incredibly strong, great wrestler. I knew he actually lived in my dorm when I was a resident director, and he was in college at Waynesburg University. I've known him since his college days. Incredible guy. And he revealed on the show that he had won 2 different Army combatives, which is a form of MMA, Army combative tournaments by knockout, unsurprisingly. So what's it like training with a guy who's kind of growing up with, coming up with you to really sharpen each other? Because I think you guys are both dominant and will be dominant, but you have slightly different skills. He's more a power puncher, power wrestler, dominate, smash. You're more of the finesse, and that's of course a compliment to both. I think Anderson Silva is that like finesse 185er who showed that like skill. He wasn't necessarily a power guy, but he was that finesse. So talk about the two, you and Ken Burrs kind of being prototypical 185ers, but different techniques and different styles.
Yeah, Ken's like my bro for real, man. It's been great training with him and getting working consistently. Having somebody kind of like my weight class that can push me in ways that I'm not necessarily strong in. And I feel like I can't speak for him, but I feel like I can do the same for him in certain areas. But yeah, man, whoever is going against Ken got their hands full any day of the week. So yeah, I feel bad for his opponent. Ken's been putting in some really good work, man. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what he does and seeing him kind of reach great heights and do what he can in the 185 division as well, man. And we're both gonna kind of just take it over in our own ways.
That's what's exciting. Indio Dojo, and I know a lot of the Indio Dojo guys also train out of the shop. Both those gyms, I think, are really kind of showing, and a lot of gyms in the area, the Mat Factory, Stout, the Academy, 247 has really in the last 3 years shown just what talent can really come out of Western Pennsylvania. And also counting Altoona, I never want to leave Ethan the Wolverine Goss, one of my commentator guys who's going to be defending his belt. But Western Pennsylvania, Center Pennsylvania, just incredibly deep. Talk a little bit about you're now 2-0 as a pro middleweight in a division which is super exciting. I would say 185 and 205 and heavyweight have always been kind of big divisions at the big level, UFC and Bellator. For you though, you're grinding away. What would you like to see next for you? Would you want to grab a 247 fight in July? Or are you an LFA boy now? Because I know LFA is a big deal, and obviously getting a win up in New York is a big time. I always joke with Jim Mooney that on these podcasts, sometimes I try to match make. Obviously, I cannot match make for 247. I don't have that power authority. I wouldn't want it, but sometimes I just get the ball rolling. What's next for you?
Shoot, man. It feels good to be back in. I want to say that first. Feels good to be back in the cage, and in the 185 division, man, I think I'm gonna stick with LFA for a little minute. That's not to knock anything with 247. Something right comes that way, then I mean, I'm not one to say no to a good opportunity, But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to kind of taking on whoever they throw my way, and starting to build that name to where folks are either scared to come in the cage with me or they see it as an opportunity to go get in the cage with me, man. I'm looking to take it all the way to the top either way, though, man. I want to take over.
Well, I think that makes perfect sense. I was excited. I'm excited to watch your video on YouTube and really see your performance because you're performing against a black belt and a decent sized black belt. He wasn't as shredded. You're like incredibly muscular and shredded, but at the same time, he had a lot of skills. 1-1, so more pro fights than you. Obviously dangerous. So I think that's good too. It makes perfect sense if LFA is going to be kind of building you up. Makes perfect sense to really try yourself and to grow. We've seen whether it's Bellator, whether it's UFC, but we've seen Dana White Contender Series take people that are like 6-0, 7-1, 8-2, that range. And so it is exciting to see you're 2-0. If you can put together 3 or 4, 5 fights, wins in a row, and you're 6-0, 7-0, that seems to be when Dana White Contender Series starts taking guys, and that would probably be about a year from now because they do it in the summer. So in my brain, if your knee stays healthy, so I guess I should ask, does your knee feel good? Because you were in there at a professional, you fought about 8 minutes. So you felt good and you feel like you can jump back in there and get 3 or 4 fights in a year. And by next summer, be 6-0, something like that, be looking at Dana White. Is that sort of an accurate thing?
All right. Yeah, that's the goal, man. I do my best not to take too much damage while I'm in there. Kind of definitely focus on defense and not getting too much damage along the way. And I was successful in this fight and not taking too much damage. I'll say right before the fight, my nose broke. So it was like in week 2 of healing my nose up. Yeah. But we did what we had to do, got it done. It didn't affect me too much. I'm gonna take like a week or 2 off, maybe just to recover, let some of the bruises heal up and everything, let my body recover, and then get right back to it, man. Ideally, have another fight in the next few months, and then keep going from there. And keep the streak going, keep the streak alive, and ideally by around this time next year, we'll be having some really good looks. Yeah.
And that all makes sense as far as schedule goes, if schedules go the way you want and if your fights continue to improve. But it is important, I think. I know you're a business guy, you're a DJ, you're a hip hop artist. So it's a business. And I think it's great that you kind of have goals. We should always have those immediate day-to-day, what we can control every single moment, like what we can, sleeping, you're a family guy, you've got a daughter, eating, all the stuff that you can do. But then you also need to be looking at like a midterm goal, 3 to 6 months, and then that like 1 year goal. And people that are good at doing all levels, the day-to-day, the midterm, and the long term, they're much more successful than somebody who maybe is all long term, but then they never focus on what they can do day-to-day, or all day-to-day, but never focus on where they want to go. So I think it's really great talking to you to kind of see that balance between what you could control, and also you gotta have a goal to aim for in the future. So I want to keep following you. I'm honored and thrilled. I can say a shout out to LFA. They were nice enough to give me press passes, and I was going to make the trip up. I'm honored to have been, authorized to be press pass. But I work for the VA, and it's an honor to work with combat vets. But I wasn't able to get the time off because we're required to cover. So shout out to LFA for giving me press credentials, and I hope the next time you fight for LFA, I'll be able to make the trip. And obviously, that's no knock on the VA; they're incredible helping combat vets, and I'm honored to help them. I just wasn't able to swing the trip, so I felt bad because LFA was really nice to approve me. So that to say that I hope to be able to follow your career, whether it be on MMA Fancast or even catching future LFA fights with you. So it's just been just incredible having you on the show. Let me ask you this. Do you have sponsors? Who do you want to thank? It doesn't have to be a sponsor. It could also be a thanks, but I just wanted to kind of check you out.
Yeah, man. I definitely want to thank my sponsors, especially One Hood Media and South Lake Family Dentistry. Both amazing sponsors, a big helps to me. A few of the guys at the gym as well, huge helps. Of course, my coaches, Mikey Hewitt, Jeff Kennedy, Kung Fu Panda, and then Danilo Villafort. And yeah, all my training partners, man, everybody that's been a piece of this and a part of this, man. You all know who you are, and I appreciate you all, man. And wouldn't be what it is without you all. And thank you as well, man. Thank you as well for the interviews and, kind of bringing some light to things, man.
I'm really honored. I did not think necessarily when I started doing the interviews as part of helping out Ryan for 247. They've been doing MMA Fancast for a while before starting 247. And I got the opportunity to start interviewing people. It's been an honor interviewing you and interviewing. I know you got a ton out of your gym. Unfortunately, your two gym mates had fights fall through last minute, both Gavin Teasdale and Taylor. So that's unfortunate. It was going to be 3 fighters there for Indio, but you made the most of your walk to the cage, and that's the thing that can be really hard. The mental game, because you're a teammate. I'm sure it was tough to watch those guys have fights fall through last minute, but when you get in there with the cage, that's your opportunity to shine. I know they'll shine in the future. They've got a lot of promise and skill ahead of them. And so it's an honor having you on the show. Thank you so very much. And best wishes. Obviously, come back on the show when you've got another fight scheduled. And for people that are excited, you're an exciting fighter to watch. So I'm excited to see somebody come out of a gym I know, great guys I know, to be kind of at that level, to take it to the next level. So thanks so much.
Definitely, man. I appreciate you, man. And looking forward to working with you more, speaking with you more in the future, man.
Can't wait. Thanks so much. You've been listening to Jay Manning, undefeated 185 pro middleweight. Go watch on YouTube, LFA. I believe it's up there on YouTube. Watch Jay Manning's win. It's incredible. It's exciting. So thanks so much.
All right. Peace.
You got it.
Appreciate you.